I moved to Tokyo for university when I was 19, first time living alone. My parents helped me find a small apartment in Nakano, one room, tiny kitchen, bathroom you could barely turn around in. But it was mine. The building was old, built in the 80s, maybe earlier. The landlord said it had character. I moved in on a Saturday. By evening I was exhausted. Around 10 p.m. I heard a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole. A man was standing there, middle-aged, grey hair, wearing a suit. I didn't open the door, just called out. "Yes?" "Welcome to the building," he said. His voice was flat. "I live next door, room 203. "Thank you." He didn't leave, just stood there. After maybe 30 seconds, he walked away. The next night, same time, another knock. Same man, same suit, same flat expression. "Yes?" "Just checking if you need anything." "I'm fine. Thank you." He stood there, then left. This happened every night for a week, always at 10 p.m. On the 8th night, I didn't answer. He knocked, waited, knocked again. I stayed quiet. He didn't leave. I could see him through the peephole, staring at my door, 5 minutes. Then he walked away. The next morning, I ran into another tenant, an older woman from the first floor. I asked her about the man in 203. She looked confused. "There's no one in 203. That apartment's been empty for months." "Are you sure?" "Very sure. Last tenant moved out in March." "Why?" She hesitated. "He died there. They found him after a few days." That night, I waited by the door at 9:55 p.m. At exactly 10 p.m., footsteps in the hallway. I looked through the peephole. The man was there. But this time he was looking directly at the peephole, like he knew I was watching. He knocked. I didn't answer. "I know you're in there," he said. I stayed quiet. "You shouldn't have ignored me." The knocking got louder, faster. I grabbed my phone, almost called the police. The knocking stopped. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. Finally looked through the peephole. He was gone. I went to the landlord the next day, told him everything. He sighed. "The man who died in 203. He used to check on all the tenants, every night at 10 p.m. Some people found it annoying, but he did it anyway." "What happened to him?" "No one found him for 3 days. He missed his rounds, but no one checked on him. I moved out by the end of the week, but on my last night at 9:55 p.m., I stood by the door. At 10 p.m., the footsteps came. He knocked. I opened the door. He was standing there, same suit, but up close I could see his face clearly. He looked tired. "I'm moving out tomorrow," I said. He nodded slowly. "Thank you for checking on me." His expression changed, just slightly. "Stay safe," he said quietly. Then he turned and walked down the hallway. I watched until he disappeared. I moved out the next morning. But sometimes, late at night, I think about him. Still making his rounds. Still checking on people who never checked on him. I worked night shifts at a family mart in Shibuya for 2 years. Midnight to 8 a.m., usually quiet. This started 6 months before I quit. Around 3 a.m., a woman came into the store, 30s maybe, long black hair, white dress. She didn't say anything, just walked slowly down the aisles, looking at products but not touching anything. After 10 minutes, she left, didn't buy anything. The next night, same time, she came back, same dress, same slow walk. Then she left. This happened every night for a week. I mentioned it to my manager. He shrugged. "As long as she's not stealing." But something about her bothered me. She never made eye contact, never spoke, never bought anything. After 2 weeks, I started dreading 3 a.m. She never missed a night. One night, I tried talking to her. "Excuse me, can I help you?" She stopped, turned slowly. Her face was blank. "No," she said quietly. Then she continued walking. After 10 minutes, she left. The next night, she came in at 2:45 a.m., 15 minutes early, and she didn't walk around. She just stood by the magazine rack, staring at me, for 10 minutes. Then she left. I called my manager. He said if she wasn't breaking rules, nothing he could do. The next night, 2:30 a.m., 30 minutes early. Same spot, same stair. But this time, she stayed for 30 minutes. I tried keeping busy, but I could feel her eyes. When she left, I locked the door. Against policy. But I didn't care. My manager checked the security footage the next day. He called me. His voice was different. I watched the footage. And? There's no one on it. What? The cameras show you working alone. No woman, no one at 3 a.m. My blood went cold. That's impossible. I believe you. But the cameras don't show her. That night, I dreaded going in. At 2:30 a.m. she came in. This time she walked straight to the counter, stood right in front of me. Why can't anyone else see me, she asked. I froze. Why can only you see me? I couldn't speak. She leaned forward, her face inches from mine. Am I dead? I stumbled backward, knocked over a display. When I looked up, she was gone. I quit that night, walked out mid-shift. My manager tried calling. I didn't answer. I don't work night shifts anymore. And I never found out who she was, or why only I could see her. I used to take the last train home from work. Yamanote line. Leaves Shibuya at 12:47 a.m., usually empty. A few tired salarymen, some students. This happened in November. I got on at Shibuya, found a seat near the back, 3 other people in the car, an old woman, a businessman, a student with headphones. At Harajuku, the old woman got off. At Yoyogi, the businessman left, just me and the student. At Shinjuku, the student got off. Now I was alone. That's when I noticed someone at the other end of the car. A man in a dark coat. Hood pulled up. I hadn't seen him get on. He was sitting perfectly still. Facing away from me. Shin Okubo. Doors opened, closed. He didn't move. Takada no Baba. Same thing. I started feeling uneasy. At Ikebukuro, I stood up, moved closer to the doors. The man's head tilted, like he was listening. Doors opened. I stepped out. He stood up, turned to face me. I couldn't see his face under the hood. Just darkness. The doors closed. I stayed on the platform. Through the window I could see him, still standing, still facing me. The train disappeared into the tunnel. I took a taxi home. The next night I took an earlier train, left work at 11 p.m. The car was crowded, maybe 20 people. I felt safer. At Harajuku, I glanced around. The man in the dark coat was 3 seats away. I hadn't seen him get on. I stood up, moved to the next car. At Yoyogi, I looked back. He was standing, facing my direction. I moved to the next car, then the next. At Shinjuku, I looked back. 1 car behind me now. At Shinokubo, I got off, ran to a different car, got back on before the doors closed. I thought I'd lost him. Looked around, about 10 people. No dark coat. I relaxed, slightly. The train stopped at Takada no Baba. Through the window I saw him on the platform, standing perfectly still, facing the train, facing me. But the doors opened on the opposite side. He was on the wrong platform. The train started moving. He didn't move, just watched. I got off at the next stop, waited 40 minutes for the first morning train. I never saw him again, but I stopped taking the last train. And some nights when I'm walking past the station, I see the last train pulling in, and I wonder if he's still on it, still looking. I lived in a small apartment building in Saitama, 6 units, quiet, mostly elderly residents. I was the youngest, mid-20s. The apartment next to mine had been empty for months. This happened in March. One Saturday morning, I heard movement next door, furniture being dragged, footsteps. Someone was moving in. That evening, around 7 p.m., a knock on my door. A man was standing there, maybe 40, thin, wearing glasses. Hello, I just moved in next door. Thought I'd introduce myself. Welcome to the building, he smiled. But something seemed off, too wide. I'm Sato. Nice to meet you. He just stood there, smiling. Well, if you need anything, let me know. Actually, Could I borrow some soy sauce? Sure, one moment. I got a bottle, came back. He was still standing in the exact same spot, still smiling. I handed it to him. Thank you. Then he left. That night, around 11 p.m., I heard noises, scraping sounds, like furniture being moved. This continued until 3 a.m. The next night, same thing. After 3 nights, I knocked on his door. He answered. Same smile. I've been hearing noise at night. Oh, sorry, still settling in. It's been 3 nights. His smile didn't change. Should be done soon. It continued for 2 weeks. I complained to the landlord. He said he'd talked to Sato. That night, the noises stopped. But then something else started. Around midnight, knocking, coming from the wall between us. Knock, knock, knock. Every 10 seconds. For an hour. I knocked back. Can you please stop? It stopped. For 5 minutes. Then started again. I went to his door. Knocked. No answer. The knocking on the wall continued, even while I was standing at his door. The landlord came the next morning. We knocked together. No answer. He used his key. The apartment was empty, completely empty. But the wall between us was covered in scratch marks, hundreds of them. When did he move out? The landlord looked confused. He didn't. He signed a 1-year lease. No one had seen him since the day he moved in. The landlord filed a missing person report. Police searched, found nothing. I moved out 2 weeks later. The apartment stayed empty. No one wanted it. But sometimes I wonder what Sato was doing in that empty apartment, what he was scratching at, and whether he's still there. I worked at a trading company in Minato-ku, 20 employees. Old building near Roppongi. I was often the last to leave. Extra work at the end of the day. This happened last October. I was working late, around 11 p.m., everyone else gone. The office was quiet, just the hum of air conditioning. I was at my desk, 3rd floor, finishing a report. That's when I heard footsteps. From the floor above. Slow, deliberate, walking back and forth. I stopped typing, listened. The footsteps continued, like someone pacing. I'd checked all floors when I came in. I was alone. I went back to work. The footsteps stopped, then the elevator, coming down from the 4th floor. I watched the indicator. 4th floor, 3rd floor. It stopped on my floor. Doors opened. Empty. After 30 seconds, doors closed. Went back up. The footsteps started again. Then the elevator came down. Stopped. Opened. Empty. This happened 3 more times. On the 6th time, I decided to leave. I grabbed my bag, headed for the stairs. The lights went out. Complete darkness. I pulled out my phone, used the flashlight. The footsteps above got faster, louder. Then I heard them on the stairs. Coming down. I ran for the emergency exit. The footsteps were getting closer. I burst through, ran down, 3rd floor, 2nd, 1st, hit the ground floor, ran to the lobby doors, locked. The building locked at 10 p.m. You needed a key card. I fumbled for it. The footsteps were in the stairwell, coming down fast. Found the card, swiped it. The door unlocked. I pushed through, ran into the street. Didn't stop until I was 3 blocks away. The next morning, I talked to security. Did anyone work late last night? He checked the log. Just you. No one else. Power outage? No. Everything was normal. I didn't work late again. Always left by 6 p.m. 2 months later, I quit. But I heard something recently. The building's being demolished. They're tearing it down. During inspection, they found something in the walls of the 4th floor. They won't say what it was. I was traveling through Osaka for work. Missed my last train back to Tokyo. It was past midnight. I found a capsule hotel near the station. Cheap, clean enough. Just needed somewhere to sleep for a few hours. The clerk barely looked at me, just handed me a key card and pointed to the elevators. 3rd floor, capsule 347. I took the elevator up. The hallway was quiet. Rows of capsules on both sides. Small doors with numbers. I found 347. Slid open the door, climbed inside. The capsule was tiny, just enough room to sit up. A small TV mounted on the wall, a reading light, a pillow and blanket. I set an alarm for 5 a.m. Needed to catch the first train. I closed the door. Lay down. That's when I heard it. Tapping, coming from the capsule next to mine. Number 348. Soft at first, then louder. Tap, tap, tap. Regular intervals, like someone knocking on the wall between us. I tried to ignore it. Maybe they were watching something on their phone, tapping the screen, but it continued. Same rhythm, same volume. After 10 minutes, I knocked back on the wall. "Excuse me, can you please stop?" The tapping stopped. I waited. Nothing. I relaxed, closed my eyes. Then it started again. Louder this time. Tap, tap, tap. I sat up, annoyed now. I slid open my door, stepped out into the hallway, walked to capsule 348, knocked on the door. "Hey, I'm trying to sleep." No answer. I knocked harder. "Hello?" Nothing. I went back to my capsule, climbed inside, closed the door. The tapping started immediately, but this time it was different. It was moving, starting at the wall, then moving to the ceiling, then the floor. Like someone was crawling around inside the capsule next to mine, tapping everywhere. I grabbed my phone, almost called the front desk. Then the tapping stopped. Complete silence. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. Nothing. I lay back down, tried to sleep. That's when I heard breathing. Right next to my ear, on the other side of the wall, heavy, ragged. I froze. The breathing got louder, closer, like someone had pressed their face against the wall. "Hello?" I whispered. The breathing stopped. Then I heard a voice, muffled, coming from capsule 348. "Let me out." My blood went cold. "Let me out, please." I didn't move, didn't speak. "I've been in here for so long, please, let me out." I grabbed my bag, slid open the door, climbed out, ran down the hallway to the elevator. At the front desk, I told the clerk what happened. He looked confused. "Capsule 348? Yes, someone's trapped in there." He pulled up something on his computer, frowned. "That capsule is out of order. It's been locked for maintenance." "Someone's inside. I heard them." "That's not possible. It's been empty for 3 weeks." "Then open it. Check." He hesitated, then grabbed a master key. We took the elevator up, walked to capsule 348. He unlocked it, slid open the door. Empty, but the inside walls were covered in scratch marks. Hundreds of them. "What is this?" I asked. The clerk went pale. "The last person who stayed here, they had some kind of episode. Started clawing at the walls. We had to break them out." "When was this?" 3 weeks ago." He closed the door, locked it. "I'll move you to a different floor." I didn't stay. Left the hotel. Spent the rest of the night at a 24-hour cafe. Caught the first train back to Tokyo. But sometimes, late at night, I still hear it. That tapping, that voice, asking to be let out. I worked late shifts at a department store in Yokohama. Usually finished around 10 p.m. The employee parking was in an underground garage, 3 levels down, always empty by the time I left. This happened in December. Cold nights, early darkness. I was walking to my car, heels clicking on concrete, echoing in the empty garage. That's when I heard other footsteps, behind me. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I started walking. They started again. I turned around. No one there. The garage was completely empty. I kept walking. Faster now. The footsteps followed, matching my pace. I reached my car, fumbled with my keys. The footsteps got closer. I unlocked the door, jumped inside, locked it, looked in the rearview mirror. A man was standing behind my car. I hadn't seen him approach, but there he was, 30s maybe, wearing a hoodie. He didn't move, just stood there, staring at my car. I started the engine, put it in reverse. He didn't move. I honked. He stayed still. I reversed, slowly. He stepped aside at the last second. I drove up the ramp, out of the garage. Didn't look back. The next night, same thing. I heard footsteps behind me. Turned around. No one there. Reached my car. The man was standing in the same spot. Behind my car. Same hoodie. Same blank stare. This time I called security before leaving work. "Can someone escort me to my car?" The guard came down with me. We walked together. I told him about the man. We reached my car. I looked around. No one there. "Where is he?" the guard asked. "He was here last night, right behind my car." The guard checked the area. Nothing. "Maybe he only shows up when you're alone," he said. I thanked him, got in my car, drove home. The next night, I asked a co-worker to walk with me. We talked as we walked, laughing about something from work. We reached my car. I looked behind it. No one. My co-worker left. I got in my car, looked in the rearview mirror. The man was standing there, but this time he was closer, right behind my car. His face was pressed against the back window. I screamed, started the engine, reversed hard. He disappeared. I drove up the ramp, stopped at the exit, looked back. He was standing at the bottom of the ramp, watching. I reported it to the police. They checked the security cameras. "There's no one on the footage," the officer said. "That's impossible. I've seen him 3 times. The cameras show you walking alone, getting in your car alone. No one else in the garage." I quit that job 2 weeks later, found work closer to home, somewhere with surface parking. But I still have nightmares about that garage, about the man standing behind my car, and the way he pressed his face against the glass. My uncle owned a pachinko parlor in Osaka. Small place, 20 machines, mostly elderly regulars. I worked there part-time during university, cleaning machines, changing out the balls, helping customers. This happened during Golden Week. We were busier than usual. Around 8 p.m. an old man came in. I'd never seen him before. He sat at machine 7, bought 10,000 yen worth of balls, started playing. He didn't move for 3 hours, just sat there, feeding balls into the machine. Most customers took breaks, went outside for a cigarette, used the bathroom. Not this man. He never moved. Around 11 p.m. I walked past his machine, checked if he needed anything. He didn't acknowledge me, just kept playing. I noticed something strange. The tray in front of him was empty. He'd been playing for 3 hours, bought 10,000 yen worth of balls. He should have won something by now, or at least had some balls left. But the tray was empty, and he was still playing. I looked closer. His hands were moving, feeding balls into the machine. But there were no balls, just empty motions. I watched for a full minute, his hands going through the same movements, but nothing in them. "Excuse me," I said. "Would you like to buy more balls?" He didn't respond, just kept playing. I touched his shoulder. "Sir?" He turned to look at me. His eyes were completely black. I stepped back. He smiled, then turned back to the machine. I went to my uncle, told him what I saw. "Machine 7? That man's been coming here for years. I've never seen him before. He only comes during Golden Week. Same machine, same 10,000 yen. What's wrong with his eyes?" My uncle looked uncomfortable. "I don't know, but he never causes trouble. Just plays until closing. He doesn't have any balls, but he's still playing." "I know. That doesn't bother you?" My uncle sighed. "When we renovated 5 years ago, we found something under machine 7, bones, human bones. The police came, did an investigation. Nothing ever came of it. And you still let people play that machine. It's the most popular machine in the parlor, pays out the most." I looked back at the old man, still playing his invisible game. "Does he ever win?" "No. He plays until we close. Then he leaves. Never cashes out, never complains." At midnight closing time, I announced it over the PA system. All the customers started leaving. The old man stood up, walked to the door. As he passed me, he stopped. "Thank you," he said quietly. His voice sounded wrong, like multiple voices speaking at once. Then he left. I quit that job after Golden Week. My uncle still runs the parlor. Machine 7 is still the most popular, but I never went back. and I never asked what happened to the person whose bones were found under that machine. I used to stay overnight at a manga cafe in Ikebukuro, cheap alternative to a hotel, private booth, unlimited drinks, all-night access. This happened last summer. I'd missed the last train home, needed somewhere to stay. I checked in around 1 a.m. The clerk gave me booth 23, third floor. The manga cafe was quiet. Most booths were closed, people already asleep. I found my booth. Small room, computer, reclining chair, shelves of manga. I closed the door, lay down in the chair. Around 2 a.m. I heard footsteps in the hallway outside, slow, deliberate, stopping at each booth. I thought maybe it was staff checking on customers. The footsteps stopped outside my booth. A shadow appeared under the door. Someone was standing there. I waited. They didn't knock, didn't move. After maybe 30 seconds, they walked away. The footsteps continued down the hall, stopping at each booth. I tried to go back to sleep. Around 3 a.m. it happened again. Footsteps, stopping at my door. Shadow under the crack. This time I got up, opened the door. The hallway was empty. I walked to the end, looked around the corner. No one. I went back to my booth, closed the door, sat in the chair, waiting. At 4 a.m. the footsteps came again, slower this time. They stopped outside my door. I heard breathing. On the other side, heavy, ragged. Then a voice, barely a whisper. "Are you awake?" I didn't answer. "I know you're awake, I can hear you." My heart was pounding. Open the door. I stayed quiet. The doorknob started turning. I'd locked it, but it kept turning. Slowly. I grabbed my bag, backed away from the door. The knob stopped turning. The shadow under the door disappeared. Footsteps walking away. I waited until 6 a.m., until other customers started waking up. Then I left, went straight to the front desk. "Did you have someone checking booths last night?" The clerk looked confused. "No, we don't do night checks, people are sleeping." Someone was walking the halls, stopping at each booth. What did they look like? I didn't see them, just heard them. The clerk pulled up something on the computer, security footage. He watched for a moment. Then his face changed. "What is it?" I asked. He turned the monitor toward me. The footage showed the hallway, empty, for hours. Then around 2 a.m., something appeared. A figure, but distorted, like the camera couldn't quite capture it. It walked down the hall, stopping at each booth, including mine. "Has this happened before?" I asked. The clerk nodded. "A few times, always on the third floor, always between 2 and 4 a.m. "What is it?" "We don't know, but customers complain about it. Say someone tried to get into their booth." "Why don't you close the third floor at night?" "We did, for a month. It didn't matter, it still appeared on camera." I never stayed at that manga cafe again, but I heard later that they closed the third floor permanently. Too many complaints, too many customers who never came back. There was a shortcut from the station to my apartment, an underground passage, cut my walk time in half. Most people didn't use it. Too dark, too empty, felt unsafe. But I used it every night. Never had any problems. This happened in October. I was walking home from work. Around 11 p.m. took my usual shortcut. The passage was empty like always, just fluorescent lights, concrete walls, echoing footsteps. Halfway through I heard something behind me. Footsteps, but slower than mine. Dragging. I looked back. A woman was walking behind me, maybe 50 meters away. Long hair covering her face, white dress, barefoot. I kept walking. Faster now. The dragging footsteps continued, same pace. I looked back again. She was closer. Maybe 30 meters now. I started jogging. The footsteps got faster, matching my speed. I looked back. She was running now, head down, hair swinging, closer. I ran, full sprint. The passage seemed longer than usual, the exit too far away. Behind me the footsteps were getting closer. I could hear breathing now. Ragged, desperate. I didn't look back, just ran. Finally reached the exit, burst out onto the street, turned around. The woman was standing at the entrance to the passage, just standing there, hair still covering her face. She didn't follow me out, just stood there, watching. I ran the rest of the way home. The next day I asked around about the passage. An old woman in my building told me a story. 20 years ago, a woman died in that passage. They found her at the halfway point. No one knows what happened to her. How did she die? They couldn't tell. No injuries, no illness. She just stopped. What was she wearing? The old woman paused. A white dress. I never used that passage again. Take the long way home now. Extra 15 minutes. But I don't care. Because sometimes, when I walk past the entrance to that passage, I can see her, standing at the halfway point, waiting.